Hello, please tell us a little bit about yourself. My name is Father Paul Zirimenya. I was born in Uganda, Africa, which is on the east side of the continent. I come from a family of 9 children. I am the third one in line and am the only one that's deaf. I have 4 brothers and I also have 4 sisters. We were really a wonderful, fun family. I grew up and was educated in Uganda and then moved to the United States later on to study to become a priest in 2000. What motivated you to come to the United States to become a priest? I moved to the States really because it was an issue of access, an issue of access for deaf people. As a man, I wanted to become a priest, yes, but here, we'd have better access to interpreters, we have better services for the deaf. It's not like that where I come from. The technology and access to interpreters is not the same as it is here. And I really hadn't planned on staying in the United States, but as a priest, we always end up following where God ends up leading us. As the pastor here at St. Benedict in San Francisco, what do you like about your job here? Well, to be honest, I really enjoy, I guess you could say, the presence with all of the people here. Being with them, that's probably the thing I enjoy the most, is being with these people from all different types of groups that we service. I love that. As a deaf priest, can you tell me what you feel some of the challenges are that you face? Well, when I was ordained, the bishop told me that he wanted my top priority to be serving the deaf community, through this church. Our church does include everyone. We call it rather an ASL community because we are a mixed congregation of hearing and deaf people. We have hearing parents of deaf children. We have deaf parents of hearing children. We have relatives that have deaf family members who attend this church. And it's wonderful to have services with hearing brothers and sisters. It really is. But the bishop's very clear that, my top priority is working with the deaf and also to encourage people to come back to the church. We see a lot of older people joining the church, but we don't see a lot of younger people in the younger generation. And I'm not trying to slight the fact that we have lots of hearing people here. We love that. But I'm concerned. I'm concerned that as we move forward, how do we convince people to come back to the church and serve the church so that these families can survive within the church? And that has become, I guess, quite a challenge for us. And we often see that missing in the church. As you're probably aware, the United States has a pretty deep-rooted history in racism. As a black person, have you experienced any types of racism here in the United States? Well, first I think I need to say that I can't fathom or even imagine what African Americans are faced with in terms of racism here in this country, and it must be difficult for them. When I came here, I really wasn't that aware that it happened. I didn't see it, I didn't know much about it. And when I was in seminary, I was sheltered and protected from it because of being around all of my fellow brothers. When I got out of the seminary, I was having lunch with a friend of mine one day who had just lost her husband. And after we finished lunch, I told her not to worry, that it was my treat and that I would be paying. So I paid the bill, and I did leave a very nice tip. And then out of the blue, my friend says to me, you know that the three worst tippers are Catholics, deaf people, and black people. And then we both sat there in utter silence for a few minutes and looked at each other. And then she realized what she had said, and that I was all three. So I think some people say some things that are racist, but I think those are deep-rooted inside them from growing up. But it really hasn't happened to me that often since I've been here. I think I've experienced more discrimination as a priest. What do you mean when you say you've received more discrimination as a priest than as a black person? Well, I don't really know how to explain it. I think, well, many people love priests, but there does tend to be a lot of hostility against us out there in the world, and it's getting bad. I don't mean, from everyone, but a lot of older priests have told me that it's about, the image that priests have in current times. I'm not trying to pick on us as priests, but the way people are viewing priests is in a very bad light and in a discriminatory way, I think. I'm not sure exactly why, but I know it probably has something to do with some of the incidences with children back in 2002 when all of that was in the media. And I think people still remember that and label priests because of that. And it's quite sad. What would you say is your main message for people attending your church? How would you describe that? Do you have a special message you'd like to share with people who are watching our interview today? Okay, well, I'd like to tell them to please remember that God loves each and every one of us. And He wants us to be His friend. And He's always calling us to come to Him in love as His children. I'd like to thank you for spending time with me today. And you're most welcome.